Red One is the movie about Santa Claus that is kind of a hardcore action movie, like say, like I don't know, like your hardcore action movie, like Air Force One, and it's played in a completely straight. Alan, tell us the story of Red One.
All right, the story of Red One. So Santa is totally jacked, thanks to the help of his main elf, enforcement, logistics, and fortification officer, Dwayne Johnson. Let me get the names here. Callum Drift. He's his trainer and his bodyguard, and Santa is rocking it hard. Meanwhile, on the other side of the earth, you have Chris Evans, who plays Jack O'Malley. He's a hacker. He's a bounty hunter, and he's been hired to get some intelligence. In the beginning of the movie, you see how good he is. He's able to sneak into a high security level facility, steal some intel, and then bring it back. That intel is the location of Santa's workshop. He was hired by the ogre witch Grillia, and she's able to kidnap Santa. And now it's up to Callum Drift to find Santa. And the only person who has a clue as to what might be going on is, of course, Jack O'Malley. And so he kidnaps him, and they work together to find Santa and save Christmas. This is high tech world that Santa lives in now. A lot of intelligence agencies that support him. One of which is led by Lucy Liu, who plays Zoe Harlow. What did you think of this film?
Well, a couple things to add to the story description is Chris Evans' character, Jack O'Malley, has kind of a tenuous relationship with his son Dylan, played by Wesley Kimmel.
Oh no!
Any relation to Jimmy Kimmel?
No. Okay.
Who knows? Probably. What can you say? And he never married the mother, but he's a bad dad. Let's just say that he's a bad dad. So that's another subplot running throughout this. And I will say this: the action scenes are played with dead seriousness. Mm-hmm. They basically treat Santa Claus like he is the president. So you've got Dwayne Johnson; he's on the move. It's all those things you associate with presidential Secret Service, films, and Dwayne Johnson and other characters, a big polar bear. There's all these other characters, and magic is a part of this world. They go to toy stores, have portals to the North Pole. When you take a Hot Wheels, you throw it on the ground, you point this magical weapon, it turns it into a real car, but it only works that way. They don't even explain it too much, and I don't really care, to be honest. That's how this world functions. What struck me about this movie is the action scenes are played deadly seriously. I mean, like, this is like an Air Force One with Harrison Ford, or one of those movies with Liam Neeson,
Olympus Has Fallen.
It's a Taken movie with Santa being taken, played by J.K. Simmons. And the reason you find out from this witch, yes, the main antagonist is a witch, played by Kiernan Shipka, who, if you saw Mad Men, she was the daughter in Mad Men, Don Draper's daughter. Anyways, so she's the main witch villain with nefarious plans. Lucy Liu plays Zoe, who kind of runs the facility. It's weird that it's basically like if the North Pole and Santa and all that, it was like he's the president.
It was like the CIA.
The CIA. Like it's played with dead seriousness, but we do know it's ridiculous. Now the action is actually really good and expensive. The budget for this movie was $250 million, and it shows. I mean, it really does. So, and there are some, honestly, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that the movie was crap.
Yeah.
Having
By the
said
way, the 200, we did a news item on the budget, the $200 million
Yeah.
budget. Half of it was Dwayne Johnson not showing up to set and wasting time and all that money for him not being there or showing up not at all or showing up late.
Well, I think this movie will, first of all, this film is going to bomb.
Mhm.
It's expensive and looks it. I was at the AMC Burbank 16 to watch this movie. I have never seen the theater this empty, and the whole, like, some movies will draw people. It was empty. It was a ghost town on a Thursday.
By
And
the way, go to my Instagram and I will show you that I last night got a private screening in my local theater's IMAX theater.
Oh,
I was
dude,
literally the only person in my IMAX theater watching this movie.
I was in the IMAX and there were 10 people in the IMAX for a 6 p.m. show on opening night.
Yeah.
This movie will bomb. It will be, next to Joker 2, could be the biggest bomb of the year. Maybe
By the way, the
bigger.
numbers came out last night, 3.7 million in previews.
That's horrible. That is horrible. So this movie is already a bomb. Having said that, I can't say, I mean, I was never bored. I can't say I wasn't entertained. I'd say if you get drunk on eggnog, maybe go see this. So it's a terrible movie by all accounts. Chris Evans he's sort of the opposite of Captain America. He's an a-hole.
He's not as muscular.
He's a level 4 naughty lister, right? But there is, like, the action sequence where they kidnap Santa was kind of fun. There's a scene with Krampus, a slapping contest that's kind of funny. The way they use the toys as weapons was which I kind of feel like this movie is like a lot of these Hasbro movies where they build a movie around a toy like Barbie or Transformers. This was built around these smaller brands like Hot Wheels, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, other kinds of toys that are throughout. Like, I wasn't bored. I was like, this is a bad movie. I was painfully aware this movie is terrible. At the same time, I'm like, whatever. And I will say this is the kind of movie that it's the movie that, like, a family will go to by default because they can't pick a movie. We can't see that because that's R. This is too much for little kids. It's the compromise movie. It's made for everyone and no one all at once. And it feels like the script was written in the 90s. It seems very like it's kind of timeless in that sense, which might be a positive. You know, it's not overly woke. I know people worry about that. It's not at all. It's like, it feels kind of dated, like a 90s action movie. So it's inoffensive. It's the plain donut in a box of donuts. It's like, well, and actually, to be fair, I actually like plain donuts, but whatever, don't judge me. It offends no one, but it's not great. It is maybe a 5 that it's a 5 for me, 5 out of 10, but it's also like, I wasn't bored. I mean, it's under 2 hours. I think,
no, it's over 2 hours.
Over 2 hours?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't feel long. 2 hours and 3 minutes, not by much.
Oh,
okay.
no.
But it didn't feel long to me. It was like, but I'm like sitting there going, I knew going in, this is a bad movie. And kind of, if you take that with a grain of salt, I was like, eh. But look, I'm giving it a 5. And I'm saying I didn't hate it. That's not a huge endorsement. So I don't know. What did you think? What did you think, Alan?
Yeah. No, I was bored out of my mind.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, look, I don't like to pee in the middle of movies, and so I gave this the benefit of the doubt, and I held it to the very end. But there are times I was like, I need to get out of here. It feels a lot like the problems I had with Agatha all along, where a lot of this lore, a lot of the powers that Santa has and the witch has, seems to be just made up for the sake of plot.
Yes.
And I don't like that. The thing that this has on Agatha is at least we're somewhat familiar with Christmas and how Santa works. But they didn't even do a good job connecting that, unlike Agatha, where we have no idea how witches work. And look, a Christmas movie really should have Christmas themes, other than the fact that, this is Santa and the machinations of how the workshop works. Because the only heart in this movie is between father and son, Chris Evans, the deadbeat dad, and Jimmy Kimmel's son as his son. And that's really only dealt with at the end of the movie, as kind of the big resolution of the movie. Because you don't really get a sense of any of that animosity between the two of them throughout the film, which is what Elf did so well, is that you have this conflict between the father and the son, and how the father's more worried about the business and keeping his job than he is about family and Christmas. And that theme carried its way throughout Elf, which is why Elf is a Christmas classic, and Red One will never be. And in terms of the action, look, I'm looking at the story. Chris Morgan wrote it. He wrote a lot of the Fast and Furious. Makes sense. The thing about this is just how many high-powered people are behind this, and how bad this movie is. Because you have $7 Productions doing this, so that's Dwayne Johnson's production company.
Right.
It looked like his brother-in-law wrote it. So there's a lot of nepotism here, and it just amazes me how, you mentioned it. It wanted to be an action movie. It wanted to be a Christmas movie, and by trying to do that, it became neither.
Right. It appeals to everyone and no one all at once.
I mean, the action is just like Fast and Furious. It's all CG. It's predominantly CG. So it just doesn't feel real. The Santa stuff at the beginning and the end, where you kind of, they give you a glimpse as to how is Santa able to go around the world and deliver gifts. That's kind of brought into the mix here. It's interesting, but definitely fast and not enough to pique my interest at all. So, I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
Well, I'm just saying this is the kind of movie that when you can't compromise on what movie to see, the family can say, fine, we'll see Red One. And then you see I will say the action is played with dead seriousness.
Yeah.
So maybe little kids will be kind of bored or even scared.
Yeah.
Especially during the Krampus stuff.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I think this movie is more about the Krampus stuff than it is about Christmas and the action movie. You get a lot of Krampus lore, or supposed Krampus lore, which, I don't think we know enough about it to be interested in that either.
So we both give it kind of a bad review, but I'm like, I didn't hate it. But that's not a good thing to say.
I know.
Well,
no, I'll go out and say it is a bad movie. It's not.
Oh no, there's no doubt. We both agree it's a bad movie. I'm saying the level. I give it just a little bit. You got pizza.
I got pizza.
Wait. Give me full screen. I want to show this to us.
Yeah, there you go.
Red One Pizza. Look at that
so again,
promotion.
I got this at Regal. I go to Regal and I buy their cardboard pizza. It's I cope with it. It's fine. It's something tasty at least, but you got to eat it fast because it gets cold fast.
What is better, the pizza or Red One?
The pizza was definitely better than. Look, I will never say the Regal pizza is good, but it's good enough for me to eat it every time I go there.